Instead of thinking negatively about yourself or your situation, honey, you got to flip the script, okay? And say the opposite of what your mind is actually saying, or say the opposite of what the challenge looks like. For example, instead of thinking, oh, I'll never build a team or find the right people to fill these vacancies, or, I have these vacancies that are open and I really need to find the right person. Instead of speaking the challenge, I challenge you to speak the change that you want to see. You have to, instead of saying, I'll never build a team or find the right people, open your mouth and declare words of affirmation by saying, I have everyone and everything I need to prosper. Hey, Entreleaders, and happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode number 24 of the Leaders Lab podcast, entitled How to Overcome Challenges Before They Even Begin. So this is basically like, the top way, my top way, for Entreleaders to overcome challenges before they even begin. And first of all, let's just acknowledge the fact that being an entrepreneur comes with many challenges and obstacles. And some of these everyday problems include figuring out how to get clients or finding like-minded business associates and partners. Even once you get those partners, trusting partners to hold up their end of the bargain. Another challenge can be achieving exponential revenue growth. Or what about getting traction for that product or service that you just produced or that you offer? Another challenge could be finding a good web design company or a social media manager. Another could be managing capital. I mean, even finding payment gateways that will allow you to actually make a profit from a product or service that you sell without having to pay high fees per transaction. And I mean, those are just some of the everyday challenges and issues that entrepreneurs face. Well, the thing is, and I'm sure you can attest to this, that challenges are inevitable. And although we may not be able to control the challenge, we can definitely control how we manage our emotions and respond to challenges as opposed to react to challenges. And one of the ways that I personally do this with anything and everything in my life is I actually prepare my mind for challenges before they even happen. And I know you're like, okay, tell me more. I sure will. Well, about a couple of months ago, I did a series on dealing with negative self-talk, the way that we communicate with ourselves. And when challenges come, that's what you have to do. You have to deal with the negative self-talk. You have to transform your inner dialogue from the negative to the positive. And I understand that it is definitely easier said than done for some people. But if you've lived a life where, you've always seen the negative instead of the positive when a challenge comes up in your business, or when a challenge comes up in a partnership or a project or initiative that you're working on with another entrepreneur, whether it's the negative that you focus on within or within a situation, or maybe within the partner or even the client, this type of challenge can easily be handled in a different manner, but it first begins with a transformation. And this transformation, it may actually be tougher for someone who hasn't been optimistic their entire life, but maybe they're more of a pessimist. But not all hope is lost, okay? Because the good news is you're in control of your thoughts. You're in control of how you see these challenges. And you are in control of your inner dialogue. So you transform the negative self-talk about your challenge into a positive affirmation. Instead of thinking negatively about yourself or your situation, honey, you got to flip the script, okay? And say the opposite of what your mind is actually saying, or say the opposite of what the challenge looks like. For example, instead of thinking, oh, I'll never build a team or find the right people to fill these vacancies, or, I have these vacancies that are open and I really need to find the right person. Instead of speaking the challenge, I challenge you to speak the change that you want to see. You have to, instead of saying, I'll never build a team or find the right people, open your mouth and declare words of affirmation by saying, I have everyone and everything I need to prosper. Now, the thing is, as you are doing these affirmations and as you are continuing to speak positively, this is what you are doing to supplement the action. Okay. So it's not just saying that you're speaking words and you're not actually doing anything, to make these things happen. No, these affirmations are basically what we put into practice so that while we are doing the work, while we are doing we call it heavy artillery, right? While we're actually doing the actions for these things to happen, we're just basically building up ourselves and our faith, right? So we're doing the deeds. We're looking for people. We're putting out ads to find these teams. We're doing everything that we need to do, while at the same time we are affirming, we are declaring what we want to see instead of the challenge that we are facing. So again, I can't say this enough. Instead of speaking the challenge, speak the change that you want to see. I have a couple other examples of how you can take the challenge and turn it into the change that you want to see. For example, and these are from the challenges, the everyday problems that I mentioned just a few moments ago that entrepreneurs have. So one of the challenges is figuring out how to get clients, right? Like, God, where they at? Where are these clients coming from? Like, where they at? But instead of speaking the challenge, speak the change that you want to see. Okay. And one way that, and this is an affirmation that I just, came up off the top of my head. I'm like, oh, this is a good one. I'm actually going to incorporate this. But instead of, speaking the challenge saying, it's so hard to get clients. I don't know how, I don't know where they're coming from. I want you to declare and affirm that high quality paying clients are searching for what I have to offer and they are finding me. Okay. That's a change, right? Instead of saying the challenge, we speak the change. High quality paying clients are searching for what I have to offer and they are finding me. They're working with me. They are supporting my business and my brands in ways to monetize my goals. I mean, you see, it comes off sounding like a lyric to a rap song, right? Because you have to speak the change that you want to see. Another challenge, is learning how to delegate tasks without micromanaging. Whew. If you are in any type of leadership position, and this has been me for many, many times, okay? So that's why if you're listening to this on the audio version and not watching this on the video podcast, honey, my eyes rolled up in the back of my head, okay? Because this is one of the challenges that I have been challenged to change. Okay. I seriously have been challenged to change how I navigate this. And so if I say, learning how to delegate tasks without micromanaging is hard for me to do, now I'm focusing on the problem. But instead of doing that, I need to speak the change. I train, that's the action, right? And trust my team or my partners to effectively complete the task assigned to them. Now I'm sitting here, it's not just me saying that, I'm just going to put my trust in people. No, this is saying that I did the job of training them the way that I would want my administrative tasks to be carried out, or how I would want my designs to be, or how I would want my logo or my website or whatever task you have, right? You train the people. And if it's not something that is your strong suit, then you can train them, not necessarily in the technicality, but you can train them in terms of quality, right? You can show them what you want in terms of quality. After you do the legwork of training, then you just need to trust. You just need to trust that your team or your partners will effectively complete the tasks that are assigned to them. Okay. Another challenge is finding like-minded business associates and partners. Now, this is definitely a challenge because you have to spend time with partners, right? You have to spend time with these associates to see if they have the same type of vibe or the same type of energy that you have when it comes to reaching your goals even in alignment. Because if they're not, then you need to ask yourself the question, is this someone that I can really work with? Or is this someone where, if I work with them and I help them with their initiative and they work with me and help me with my initiative, is the energy going to be matched? Are we going to have great outcomes between the two of us? Or is it just going to seem like I'm doing all of this and they're reaping the benefit, but I'm not. So instead of focusing on the challenge of finding like-minded business associates and partners, I want you to speak the change. I am blessed to partner with like-minded, high-quality business associates that produce mutually beneficial outcomes. Okay, those three keywords right there, honey. That's like power. Okay, mutually beneficial outcomes. That means that we both benefit. It's even. It's not lopsided. It's not one-sided. It's not imbalanced. But both parties, or all parties, if it's more than one, all parties in this partnership, we have mutually beneficial outcomes because we produce them together. So again, the challenge you might be saying is, oof, it's so hard for me to find like-minded business associates and partners. But in reality, you need to speak what you really want to see, right? I am blessed. I am fortunate to partner with like-minded, high-quality business associates that produce mutually beneficial outcomes. Another challenge is dealing with the money. Managing capital, right? And so when we're dealing with our business finances, instead of speaking about the challenge, let's decree and declare the change that we really want to see. I am a good steward over my business finances. And as you continue to say that, sometimes stewardship means that you end up finding an accountant who can, also pick up that responsibility of being a good steward over the finances. And so that's one of the things you want to think about. The money, think about, I'm good with budgeting for my business. I save. Whatever the challenge is, I want you to speak the opposite of the challenge and then make sure you work towards actually seeing that come to pass. Okay. So affirmations and action, they go hand in hand, honey. For me, affirmations and action go hand in hand. I act, I do, I work towards my goals. But also when that negative self-talk comes, when those challenges come, I have to affirm myself. I have to speak positively. I have to change and transform those challenges into affirmation, saying, listen, you doing the best that you can do with this. You need to speak positively. I know the challenge is there, but the change is also possible. You have to know that you can speak change into your life instead of just speaking the challenge. Okay. So again, a challenge, managing capital. Change, I am a good steward over my business finances. Now I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand something. The more you transform your mind, the more equipped you'll be to overcome challenges that will inevitably arise. Challenges are going to come, okay? And this isn't just, challenges are going to come in life in general, but we are specifically focusing on business and being an entreleader, right? And so regardless of whatever task you are in or what project you're doing or, whatever initiative you are participating in or launching, challenges are going to come. And so practicing positivity, it doesn't mean that we disregard the problem or the issue. It doesn't mean that we are oblivious or we're just completely naive no, it doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that we are acknowledging that there is a challenge and I'm going to find a way to solve it. And trust me, you will, because after all, you'll never overcome an obstacle if you're constantly allowing it to get the best of you. Instead of doing that, you get the best of it. And the way that I do this is every single morning, I have what I call a power hour. And sometimes it goes well over an hour, but I have what is called a power hour. And during my power hour, I get up, I fix me a nice cup of coffee and I go sit in my it's my prayer corner, technically. And I pull out my iPad where I have my morning devotions and I also have my affirmations. And then I have my Bible to the side. And so I'm reading my devotional and then I may journal some days and some days I may not. Okay. And then I will recite my scriptures on faith that I remembered. I have 32 scriptures on faith that I remembered by heart. So I recite those and then I go into my affirmations. And the affirmations that I recite they're well over 100 affirmations. Actually, there are over 300 affirmations that I recite. But there are 31 specific, powerful affirmations that I have. They're actually my top affirmations that I say in the very beginning of the morning. They're the 31 affirmations that come before all the rest of the 300. And so these 31 powerful affirmations I have, they're there to help you transform your mind, and you can actually grab your copy for free. Okay, you can grab your copy of my 31 powerful affirmations to transform your mind. You can get them right at Linktree. It's actually linktr. Y'all, I get this messed up every time. linktr.ee/DrCharityTV. And as a matter of fact, just to make it easy on you, if you're watching the video, I have it down below. Okay, I have it. The link is in the description bar below. And also, if you're listening to this on whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, wherever, Castbox, Spotify, or an RSS feed, you can find this in the show notes. Okay, you can find the link in the show notes. Affirmations changed my life. For those of you who don't know my story, affirmations and we go all the way back to the year 2009. And like I said, they changed my life. If you knew my story from who I was back then to who I am today, you would say, wait a minute now. And it didn't happen overnight. But the thing that did happen overnight was my words. And if you begin to just speak positively, okay, that's why I said I challenge you to not speak the challenge, but to speak the change that you want to see. And when you start speaking, your words can change overnight, even if your reality takes a little bit of time, but your words, that's the thing that you can change instantly, immediately. And so one of the ways that I challenge you to literally face, overcome, defeat a challenge before it even happens is to prepare your mind. And you do that every single day, every single morning. Make sure that you get up and you decree what you want to see happen in your life. Then after you have spoken those words out into the atmosphere, hit the ground running and get that action, get that activity going so that you can begin to see what you say. I firmly believe that an affirmation a day can help you see what you say. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Leaders Lab podcast. I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you to all of my subscribers out there, even on the video podcast. You guys are rocking. Thank you so much for all of your engagement, your interaction. Subscribe to the Leaders Lab podcast. Download today's episode if you're listening audio version. I just want to say that the comments on the video podcast, you guys, I appreciate that. Like, we're a growing family. Like, we're like a little family right now and we're growing. And I just, of course I have the end goal in mind. Like, I'm thinking in the future, but I am learning to really, really, really just fall in love with the process and the journey of where I am right now today. And so to all of you who comment and to all of you who press like, even if it's like 4 likes on the video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being on this journey in the very beginning stages with me. I appreciate you so much. And again, make sure you share these episodes because we want to make sure that we can continue to reach millennial entreleaders all across the globe. Don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram, www.instagram.com/DrCharityTV or simply at DrCharityTV. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you next week in the lab.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders Lab podcast. Visit our website at www.drcharitytv.com.